From KSMQ in southern Minnesota, this is Off 90.
Funding for Off 90 is provided in part by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund and the citizens of Minnesota.
This is the farmstead of George Stoppel. In 1856, Stoppel brothers, Joseph and George, had settled side by side on acreage in Rochester Township. George left Württemberg, Germany in 1834, spent 14 years working as a cooper in Switzerland and France, and then in 1848 came to the United States to join his brother Joseph, who had immigrated earlier. They came to Minnesota seeking available land. And on April 28, 1856, George Stoppel filed for 160 acres of land just outside of Rochester. His initial investment in his new home was $200, which comes out to $1.25 an acre. George and Maria Stoppel had 4 children, 2 of whom died during the 1867 diphtheria epidemic. The other 2 lived into adulthood. The George Stoppel farm remained in the family for nearly 100 years. Upon the death of Roy Stoppel, the farm passed out of control of the Stoppel family, and in 1972, the History Center of Olmsted County purchased 40 acres as a building site for the new museum. The hope was that the Historical Society would be able to acquire the adjacent George Stoppel farm should it become available, and that took place in 1976. Traditionally, pioneer families would arrive and they would often build the barns first to protect the livestock. The barn was built before the home, and the families in many cases lived in part of the barn. We don't know for certain which building was built here first by the Stoppels when they arrived, and the Stoppel barn may well predate the stone house. The barn is built with a limestone masonry foundation and a wood frame covered with a vertical board and batten siding. The size of the barn is a strong indication that this was a family that came in with a good deal of resources at their disposal. This barn provided space for the farm's oxen, cattle, and horses. When the family first arrived in the 1860s, they spent the first winter living in a dugout. It's a semi-underground building, but there is a small fireplace built into the side here, and they had air ventilation shafts as well. The house itself was expanded quite a bit over the years. It was constructed at a time where other areas were more simple log homes. Certainly an indication that the family had more resources available to them. The stuff on the inside needs a lot of work and has been something that we have been working on. The house did have electricity and running water eventually, but did not get a refrigerator inside the house until sometime in the 1940s. The first room here at the top of the stairwell was originally the first school in the area, and this would have been used for teaching the children from the nearby farms. And then there was also an attic and other bedrooms. These stairs would head up to the attic. That would be where the heat would come up. There would be holes in the floor with vents on them so that the stoves downstairs would heat up the downstairs, and then the limited heat would come up just naturally. This building here is called the Back Barn, a multi-purpose facility, a bunkhouse for some of the hired hands, a smokehouse. It had a workshop in it, and it also had the privy for the family, an outhouse or the bathroom without a bath. Like all pioneer families, the privy would be outside of the house. And there is a bell on the top of the tower which was used to notify the hands when it was time to come in for meals. And then here's the workshop. The sharpening stones. These are foot pedaled, where you can sit on the seat and apply a little bit of pressure to spin the wheel, and then the blade is placed along the stone and moved back and forth to create a sharpening edge. And the back barn also is the entrance to one of the two caves that is on the property. And this is where they would have kept things as for preservation, root crops out of their gardens, apples from the orchard, and the family did make some wine as well. But the family carved their name into the walls on both sides here. The temperature is very, very consistent year-round. One other thing that would have been stored over in the caves would have been milk. The family did engage in a dairy operation. The George Stoppel Farmstead is very important to Olmsted County history because of its connection to the agricultural roots of the county. The grounds that we currently do use them as part of our school tours and other programming. We just don't make things like this anymore. And once these historic structures are lost forever, then all that remains is photographs of them. Once restored, the property will be an exceptional educational tool, and it will be very, very important part of the History Center's program. Many people are becoming so disconnected from the land and where the food comes from. And having this set aside is something that people will be able to experience for generations to come. Should these historic properties be lost, they really cannot be restored once they are gone.
There's a beautiful girl sitting on a park bench watching the boats float away. Seagulls are flying, she's just smiling and enjoying a beautiful day.
One of the coolest moments was hearing the song on the radio for the very first time. You know, it was something really special. You know, I was playing around here and I had a couple songs just played on the country station here. But for them to do that, you know, that was great. Yeah, I suppose somewhere down the line, I'm like, wow, you know, people really appreciate, you know, this music.
She said it's the best time, the time of my life. The Lord has blessed me with a whole new life. I'm glad you asked, 'cause you're the first to know. My husband will be
When I'm playing my guitar, people just appreciate it. When I found, you know, that niche, it, you know, really drove me to keep on learning. You gotta be positive. Can't be negative. Nobody wants to hear negative music. You know, you don't want to get off work and drive home and, you know, hear a song that just is negative and, you know, you've already put in your 10-hour shift or you're pulling a double or whatever you're doing, and you don't want to hear stuff about, you know, what's going on in the world. Sometimes you just want to turn on that radio, cruise home with the windows down, and move on to your next thing.
Well, I've been looking real hard and trying to find a job, but it just keeps getting tougher every day.
Just for that moment of that song that's on the radio, you want to be in a good mood. Just that 3 minutes and 30 seconds.
Bells ringing, the church lets out, the birds are singing, their seed on the ground.
We heard him playing his music around the house, and and he'll come up with a song, he'll write a song, and he'll play it for for us, and he'll say it's a hit, and of course you don't know whether it's going to be a hit or whatever, but it's something that he wrote, and just listening to the songs, I thought that's as good as some of the songs I've heard on the radio. Adam, he's real positive about the music business. He has this air about him that he can do it.
I don't know of too many people around here that have gone down to Nashville just to, oh yeah, just to get a touch of being a writer and a singer and whatnot. I was down there for 2 years, and basically every day was, music, nonstop. From the time you wake up, so when you go to bed, it's nonstop music playing, writing, and singing. Every day, you're learning. Sometimes it'll be about music, but sometimes it's just all business. And you're learning, what it takes. I've hung around with a lot of great writers, hit songwriters. I've played with many hit songwriters, producers, you name it. Nashville it's like going to Hollywood, but for singers. My producer has taught me a lot about the music business. But yeah, I've got some great musicians, studio musicians, and just a bunch of great guys, that love music too.
Oh brother, take this girl and love her. Oh brother, take this girl and love her.
We've taken, the family down to Nashville a number of times. He's heard country music around the house for a long time. I'm the only one in the family that likes it. But he's been exposed to it for a long time. This pursuit that he has of being a country musician, that's a really deep pool. Nashville is a really tough place to break into the music business, But he's had an interest in it, and he really wanted to pursue it. So we encouraged him, go ahead and, go down to Nashville and see what's available down there for you.
Country singers don't normally come from the north, I guess, but it doesn't matter, nowadays. I mean, it really doesn't. You got to be proud of where you're from, I say, yeah, I'm from Austin. A lot of people say, oh, Texas, No, not Texas, Minnesota, Even like me and my producer will joke around, and say, yeah, Spamtown, USA. Yeah, it's a small world is what I mean, yeah. But you got to be proud of where you come from.
You found me lost in line with my tail side showing. Glad you seen me cross the floor rolling before I was kicked under the jukebox, never to be seen again.
If it weren't for my family, to always be there, Family comes first, no matter dreams or whatnot. You gotta put that aside and you got to do that.
Obviously, every parent would like to see their kids successful, hopefully it'll happen for them. And I think that's real important, not to, doubt your dream. I don't know. Nobody really knows, but if he doesn't give it a try, and when he gets older and says, geez, I wished I would've. I mean, how many times have you heard people, not chase their dreams? And, whether he makes it or not, we'd like to see him, be successful at it.
Tossed in a wishing well, flattened on a railroad track, stuck inside a piggy bank, waiting for a kid to crack.
Well, I hope, that they start playing some songs, and I hope people like them. I hope for the best. I'm not saying it's gonna, be the biggest thing as sliced bread, but more of just an accomplishment, and just to be proud of where I'm from and to keep on going, I guess. 1 year from now, I'd be glad to, just be on the road and playing for different people, and just trying to be a part of a memory, I guess, Just play some music and hope people appreciate it. You just gotta move forward and be positive, That's the biggest thing, I think. Just like that movie, Field of Dreams, if you build it, they will come, Yeah, just trying to build it and keep on hacking away at that ice block, And one day you'll break through.
Oh brother, take this girl and love her. Oh brother, take this girl and love her. Through times of this.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
A long Minnesota goodbye. Geez, I don't know what that is. I really don't.
That was one of the first things I learned when we came to Minnesota, actually. You say goodbye, and then you think of something else you have to tell the person. And you keep talking for another 10 minutes. And then you say, oh yes, I really have to go. And you start to say goodbye, and then you remember something else you have to tell them.
If there's a technical definition to it, for me it would just be a hug, a long, long bear hug. And some tears, probably.
Usually when you want to walk out the door, it's usually about a half an hour later before you say your goodbyes, because you got to fit everything in.
Yeah, that happens a lot. Happens a lot. I'm more of a goodbye and I'm gone. Kind of drives me a little crazy to say the half-hour goodbyes, but it happens a lot.
I'm actually standing out in the cold saying you've already said goodbye once, and then you walk them to their car and you stand out in the cold for another 20 minutes having a conversation.
Oh yeah, that happens. Once they say goodbye, I try to help them go out the door, and because I know what those are. Yeah, we'll be gone in 10 minutes. Yeah, okay, whatever. And it's never going to happen.
I would say they could be annoying, depending on the person, especially if you're busy and have someplace to go, because you don't want to be rude and just walk away. So you tend to take up a little bit more of your time with the long Minnesota goodbye.
For me, I treasure my family and missed friends, people I don't see often.
I guess you just don't want to leave those people because they are so nice, or you have more to talk about and you want that connection socially.
It takes a long time to say goodbye.
It just goes on and on and on. So goodbye becomes 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, I've had several of those or more.
And you start talking about something else, yes, we've done that too.
That's a good thing if you're still saying goodbye 10 minutes later.
I think it's fun. I think it definitely adds a personality.
I think that's great. Yeah. That's a way you get to know people.
Till they walk out the door. And it's bye guys, see you later.
Probably the only time is if you're limited on time.
Oh yes, I would say I work with a gentleman that when the day's done, he likes to keep talking to you all the way to the door, and sometimes he'll end up following you to your car, just chit-chatting about the day's events.
That you just don't want to let go of the person that's leaving. That's good.
That's it for now. But join us again next week for Off 90. Meanwhile, let us know what you think and tell us about any interesting people, places, or stories that you want to see here in the coming weeks. Then watch for the KSMQ crew out there, around your town, in our communities, along the back roads. Wherever arts, culture, and history can be found in southern Minnesota, that's where we'll be. But you can be sure we'll always be Off 90.
Funding for Off 90 is provided in part by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund and the citizens of Minnesota.